Invictus Gaming is about to go up against Cloud9, who you see making their way to the stage just now. They're still looking for their first win to lock in their spot in the quarterfinals. Important note coming into this game, IG is making a substitution. They're bringing in Time in place of Kid in the AD carry role. So Tabe, I'm turning to you. What kind of information can you give us about this player?
Because Time is also a Chinese player and he always play in the Chinese server, and we always met and dual queue in the rank. And he is famous for his feign. Yeah, maybe he can break up some feign games because there's only a few games have feign. Like Double Leaf is playing feign too. So in the Worlds, maybe we can see more feign.
I've also been told from Spawn during the break that he is known for Corki as well. So I guess they have both options, going either very late game AD carry with the Vayne or the early game pressure. Corki is a pick we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Time can't rewind himself, and he's not going to be able to really make an impact except for trying to kaboom C9 themselves. So either they're going to try to have some fun and just like, you know what, we're just going to relax ourselves, or let's just play a spoiler and really try to get our win in, because these Chinese teams have a lot of pride and they will definitely want to give it their best, as we saw LGD yesterday.
Yeah, the spoiler here would be if they hand C9 the loss, they're 3-3. They'll be playing a tiebreaker to make it out of the make it into the quarterfinals out of group stages. If C9 is able to bag a win here, they'd be playing a tiebreaker for first. So a lot on the line for Cloud9 here. Yamato, when we look at this team, they've been struggling all day today. Do they have another recipe for success?
It's like, I feel like they are very one-dimensional in the strategy. They have this push strategy with the wave clear mid, and with the Veigar ban coming in and the Azir ban, it seems kind of weaker with the Orianna pick because it doesn't supply the amount of range that these two champions that I mentioned have. And also, like, when C9 fall behind, they tend to not kind of believe in their composition. They just kind of try to do something crazy to get back. That's why we see Elimination being all over the place. We see High being all over the place as well. So I'm kind of worried for the future of C9. But for this particular matchup, it's very, very hard to call.
I guess the advantage here, though, is that C9 will be on blue side. We've seen them on red side both times today, where they've had the disadvantage of banning out the power picks like Gangplank and Mordekaiser and getting their mid laners banned out. Is that a string of hope there that NA fans can hold on to?
It really is, that they're finally able to get rid of those two bans and try to focus on other bans that are not the Mordekaiser and Gangplank. There's a lot of champions that are really affecting the meta right now, especially for them, because the bans, not so much what they do, but what the opponents do, are unlikely to be able to ban Azir and Veigar. So one of those is probably going to get through to them. If not, they get the Gangplank, the Mordekaiser. They can go back to more comfort picks, because the Lulu for Incarnation, not sold. The Orianna as well, with the teleport into a heavy CC composition, really didn't like it. So let's just go back to those other comfort picks, try to get the win via that.
And since IG's on red side, Tabe, that makes it a lot harder for them to deal with some of the things you pointed out. Elimination's Morgana as well as Incarnation's mid laners. How do you expect them then to build a comp that can deal with Morgana?
It's really a tough question because like just Crumb said, because today Incarnation has played at Orianna and the effect is not that good. So maybe he is really, like what Crumb said, picking some comfort picks. For example, Azir and Veigar. Maybe there's a crazy idea because they can play freely this game. Maybe they can just ban no Mordekaiser and no Gangplank. Why? Because they are the second pick, right? If they pick Mordekaiser, okay, I can pick two. Yeah, maybe this is a good solution.
Let me tell you, though, something that nobody has tried against the C9 composition. The C9 composition has a very low amount of engage. Bing. Play poke against it.
Yes.
They have a very low amount of engage. Just play poke against it. Play Xerath mid lane, Varus mid lane. Perfect for the red side last pick. Play a poke composition against this Azir composition. That's what I want to see.
There's definite thoughts there. There is a slight delay as Time is having some equipment trouble. So while we get that sorted out on stage, we have some more time to talk, gentlemen. But I'll expand this to the tournament, because as we mentioned, IG can't get out of group stage. Cloud9 can with a win here, but even if they don't get the win here, they force a tiebreaker with the loser of the Fnatic and AHQ games. When we look at these three teams, Fnatic, AHQ, and Cloud9, Fnatic's looking pretty much unstoppable. How does Cloud9 match up against AHQ again in this day? What do they learn from the game they played earlier that'll allow them to come back stronger?
Actually, it comes down to a coin toss. 50% chance. Are they going to get the blue side or not? Otherwise, I think they're just not going to be able to hold up right now. HQ look impressive in every aspect compared to Cloud9.
I'll stop you right there. It actually isn't coin toss. It would be based on shortest average win time. So we'd have to have those calculations run. That team will get the blue side.
That was actually a close matchup then.
Right.
Because it was such close. But, well, regardless of that, the composition that Yamato mentioned, the poke comp, would be very effective. But another point to Cloud9's weak early game is the fact that these compositions that rely on a lot of siege are very late game scaling. The Azir, the Veigar, the Jinx, and Tristana are very slow champions to ramp up. And that's why these two teams, AHQ and Fnatic, have been able to just exploit the early game with the Elise pick and the tower dives so well. They're not prepared for it because in the first day, teams tend to be more reserved. They want to test the waters and see where they stand to the competition. Now that they really know how each team plays, they're like, you know what, screw it, we're not going to play your game. We're just going to beat you in the early game and never give you a chance. So as long as IG sees that same trend and sticks to it, which they could have last game perfectly fine with the composition that they had and they lead, I think they could give this struggling C9 a good run for their money.
Looks like teams are about ready, so I'm going to move us ahead to our predictions for this one. It's a big game here for Cloud9. Cloud9 versus IG. Tabe, starting with you, who do you think is going to take it?
Of course, I am a fan of IG. I have to support IG. And because on top of what Yamato said, poking composition. We know that Rookie, he has so many, he's really good for his champion pool. His Jace, his Pharahs, his Twisted Fate, and Kakao's Nidalee jungling. That means it is really possible for them to play a poking composition. And if they really didn't ban the Mordekaiser or GP, if they first pick GP, maybe Rookie will come out his Veigar mid.
Well, Yamato, you've given IG the recipe to beat Cloud9. Do you think they can do it?
It's like I wish I could predict after Champion Select, but for the sake of Fnatic, I'm just going to go for IG because it's very hard to predict out of Champion Select. I think it's kind of 50-50. I think the Champion Select is going to decide it, but I will just go for IG.
All right, and Crumbs?
I'm going with Cloud9 based on the fact that IG was unable to capitalize on early game advantages in all their games so far, even the games first week where they had a lead against HQ, unable to do so. Same this week, and Cloud9's macro game with Vision is just a step above IG's with their affinity for these carry junglers that just don't provide the vision combined with the underperforming kitties. I just don't see it. If it comes down to a strategic game, even with a poke comp where you need a lot of macro knowledge, I think they are just going to fall short. So Cloud9 for me.
All right, Crumbs, holding on to hope that NA is going to come away with one win here in week 2.
It's the last straw,
and before we step into the caster booth for picks and bans, we'll hear how Kakao thinks Cloud9 has high to thank for their decisive objective play.
초중반에는 파밍을 하고 자기 팀이 좀 5대5로 갈 수 있게 균형을 맞춰주는 역할을 한 다음에 그러고 드래곤이라든가 바론이라든가 이런 오브젝트를 칠 때 망설임을 없게 팀원들이 망설임을 없게 좀 오더를 내릴 수 있는 그런 역할을 할 수 있는 것 같아요. 되게 바론 치는데 되게 망설임 없이 치더라고요.
We'll find out just how powerful high shot calling can be as his team needs to bounce back from a 0-2 start. And they need to win. If they pick up a win, they qualify for quarterfinals, and then they're playing for seed or waiting for the seed battle to finish.
After going 3-0 and really getting a good place in the group, C9 are basically doing the reverse sweep so they can start their quarterfinal 2-0 up in that best of 5 and really get in a comfortable position. So
that is next level meta.
I talked to Jack, their owner, and he's like, that's exactly what we're doing. Don't worry, guys.
So IG, they've subbed in Time in place of Kid. What are we expecting from Time in that AD carry role?
I just want to make something clear. Time jokes are off the table.
You say it's no time for jokes on the AD carry
name puns? For name puns? Yeah.
Yeah, so real quick, Time played 8 games in the LPL while Kid was out. He played in week 10 and 11. He went 4-4, so a respectable record there. 5 Lucian games, 2 Vayne games, and a Kog'Maw. We'll see if Cloud9 seems to care about that at all. Blue side in the group stage has been the side of target ban.
Yep.
His Jinx off the table. That's interesting enough. Invictus are likely to ban those 2 that we expect, and then we'll see what branches out if they have room for a Veigar or an Azir ban.
And what a difficult position for Invictus. We've seen how Cloud9 have been shut down. Ban Azir, Veigar, and Tahm Kench. Those are the 3 bans that both Fnatic and AHQ ran earlier today, and that is what sort of sealed the deal for C9. IG can only ban 1. of those remaining. And let's see what it's going to be. It will be the Azir. So Viger and Tahm Kench available if the opportunity arises.
Do you obviously have the opportunity to take some of the champions away? Obviously, it's not like they can pick them all at once. So if Invictus Gaming's champion pools go deep enough, they could take away the necessary parts here from C9's composition. C9, they're just lucky at least, though.
What's funny about it, though, is as far as Veigar and Tahm Kench themselves are concerned, Tahm Kench is a bit of a counter pick. You either save someone from the burst combo, or you get right on top of Veigar, which he's kind of bad about with the ultimate. So definitely just options available if you consider sort of the counter pick game, but right now C9 are allowed to pick those champions now if they want them. Meanwhile, Invictus have already locked in that what we assume to be a bottom lane duo already.
Yeah, seeing this combo come out, I think we were pretty right on the money there. That's going to come out in the 2v2. That is an incredibly potent lane. We've seen it before. Not only does it trade well, Kennen can always close the gap with the Lightning Rush too to make sure he at least gets that passive proc from the Kalista W. In addition to that, gets a couple of procs from his own. Stun people, then Kalista can stack up spears, and suddenly everybody dies.
I love it how you make it sound so simple.
If they don't fight back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
you just auto-attack a target dummy for a while.
And then they die.
Yeah, weird.
Don't you know? That's how you get the challenge.
Every time I fight a target dummy in a game, it never dies, though. They're freaking invincible, so I don't know if this is actually going to work.
So for IG, both games that they've lost today, their opponents have brought the fight to them. Very aggressive, very in their face, and look to skirmish around multiple towers. Cloud9 have not necessarily played that style. They've been focused more around the actual tower kill itself. And with Tristana and sort of the defensive Morgana locked in, it's a similar recipe once again for Cloud9.
Yeah, we've seen this before. Cocoon and Binding to keep them in place. Really well scaling AD carry if things go rough and we have to get to the late game. Tristana trades well into Kalista, and this time IG's bot lane, unlike Fnatic, can't break the Black Shield to really get rid of the stuns from Kennen unless the support Kitties plays incredibly well, but Kitties has been a little bit lackluster this tournament.
Oh, here's a champ we haven't seen in a while. You heard Tomato Cannon himself talk about it, playing poke, and right now Nidalee being hovered. It's actually one of Kakao's very best champions as well. This is something that was so scary back in the LPL. Of course, Nidalee had some nerfs ever since the playoffs, but it looks like that's the consideration right now.
She does fall off a little bit, so IG will need a lead into the mid game to really get ahead there.
Difficult for Invictus. And we'll find out if they can pull that one off. Lissandra's locked in. Also another potential flex here for IG. Could be for Zitai up top, could be in the mid lane. Saw Bjergsen running it yesterday. Not too much success, unfortunately. But kind of a mixed bag here for IG. You've got poke from Nidalee, you've got all in from Kennen, Lissandra, Kalista to some degree. So a mismatch of flavors.
Yes and no. If you look at traditionally how Nidalee was played, it was all winning lanes, pushing in, allowing Nidalee to go in and counter jungling, neutralizing the enemy jungler. Kakao said in his pre-game interview that, High was the foundation, and if he just farms in the early game, then he joins his team to even things out. Well, you can get him while he's farming if he does predictable routes. So in that sense, that could be a strategy here if we see Lissandra flex until she plays into a decent pushing lane, which she can in the mid lane. Every Veigar lane almost gets pushed in. We have the counter pick in top lane. Suddenly, IG, they could be setting up for a triple push aggressive jungle lane, and this game could be over in 20 minutes.
And we've seen games completely opened up by Balls getting behind in his lane, getting pushed on, getting dived. And Zitai was one of the better top laners coming out of the Chinese LPL. We'll see if he can win his lane, and that dive that we expect from Nidalee can happen here. C9, though, they get a comp. They would probably blind pick if this mode existed for them to be competitive. This is exactly what they want to play.
And at the same time, that's good for C9, but Invictus Game, they knew this was coming. This is no surprise. These champions have all been played a lot. Now we have an aggressive counter matchup here where Gnar can continuously outtrade. They're not going with any Malphite. Like if you look at Invictus comp, sometimes you can think, oh, we need hard engage. Well, no, you just take out the team fight perspective. You just win every lane as individual elements. You don't allow Cloud9 to group because that is their strategy. Get one tower, group in the mid lane, combine your powers. We've used to call it an Exodiac comp where if you get everything together, then suddenly you win the game. If you deny Cloud9 from doing that, which Invictus Gaming very well may do, and Kakao can really work in between the lanes as an aggressive jungler, then we have a very interesting match on our hands.
The difficulty is those lanes actually have to win. Earlier today, Zitai had a kill advantage over his opponent Ziv, Olaf versus Darius, and he got killed 1v1. We saw now a substitution Time, how much has he been scrimming with Kitties? Kid was underperforming. How is Time going to do? Same champion as Kid from the previous match, but they need to win those lanes to allow Kakao the freedom to move around.
Yeah, win or push. You can go even on CS, and usually that's fine because at least somewhere on the other side of the map you have some pressure. But if you go even in CS in every lane, but you're pushed in everywhere, your jungle will completely annihilate the other jungler, and you'll be working with perfect information, and then you will get an advantage somewhere else, be it dragons, be it some neutral camp somewhere.
Well, something to watch for then. What can Kakao do with his lanes that he's expecting to do very well, guys? It's going to be one to watch for. They got to pick their duo lane at the very start. They thought Ken and Kalista would do it. They think it's going to be enough for Invictus. Tweet hashtag IG win, but Cloud9 running the comp that they know and love, and everyone can predict from them. We'll see if they can do it, and if you think so too, hashtag C9 win.
And such an important game for Cloud9. If they win, they guarantee themselves a spot in the quarterfinals in London, and seed will be determined by the next 2 games. But right now, the crowd in Paris will be cheering on Cloud9 as they take on Invictus Gaming for their last regularly scheduled games in the group stage. And for IG, it's playing the role of spoiler because they unfortunately cannot advance further in the tournament.
So we've talked a little bit about what IG needs to do to counter Cloud9, but then we should probably refresh. What is it exactly that C9 wants to do? Well, in this game, I think they want at least to get a lane swap, to get to the early game, open up 1 tower, and C9's signature move so far has been pushing up with Sneaky and then rotating into the mid lane for the siege.
And we'll see if they can do that. I mean, I know back in the North American LCS, we thought that Tristana was a great matchup into Kalista. You could sort of win the short-term trades a whole lot better. And you know, C9 are actually known for playing heavy push, heavy aggressive lanes. Elimination played a bunch of Karma, for example, just because they really relied on getting that lane push going. We'll see if C9 are able to play around that. Kid and Kitties was the starting duo for Invictus Gaming, and they'd been losing lanes so much that in the last game of the World Championship, IG did bring out their substitute. We saw LG do the same thing and actually win some games, and they brought in Flame. So maybe the bench is going to be what works here for IG.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult task. Cloud9, they got their bread and butter comp. They got the style that allowed them to go 3-0. And this is the first time that they were able to get a similar sort of flavor, but it looks like it's going to be standard lanes, however reversed. You can see both Time and Kitties somewhat predicting it. They've moved themselves up top, and Sneaky and Lemon also moving themselves past Gromp.
This is interesting. We didn't have the deepest of wards down. There's one revealing the red buff of Invictus. That's from C9, but no such deep wards from IG. So this will be a blind-picked lane swap from what I can tell.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Normally you see both teams do camp here because that's what you expect. But Elimination and Sneaky are actually moving in. They have been spotted here, so Kitties and Time are hiding. This could be a really good opening trade.
Could be a lot of damage.
So early.
Already chunked down to half.
You never trade until he actually steps into the brush, because then the surprise just gets you at least 2 more auto attacks. So that's already trigger happy here. It's expectable. Time and Kitties' first dual lane here, but yeah, just not optimizing.
Could have got more damage. Lemon already burning through some of those consumables. And moved himself up into lane. We'll take a look at these trades. Sneaky about to get aggressed on. Actually going to put that explosive charge onto Kitties and gets 1 or 2 autos while Time's on the backline farming.
And before we move on to the other lanes, any Morgana lane is so centered around the bind. It's almost like Blitzcrank, where it's a zoning tool more so than the power that the bind actually brings. If you miss your bind, you will immediately see good bot lanes just step up on you and trade, because you have no counter trade potential. That was a good trade still from Sneaky's on Kitties there, but overall, this guarantees that IG is pushing. That's 1 check mark already. Pushing top. Let's look at the mid lane. Well, Lissandra's already at Incarnation's tower, so that's 1 check there. The only remaining lane is the bot lane.
And we're going to see that one actually is pushing away from balls here. He's actually pushing Zetaya back under his turret, but Meganar about to be popped. Could be something to be afraid of, but right now both junglers are just hard farming. No wards have spotted Kakao's jungle path. All C9 knows that he didn't start on his red buff, but that's not exactly a surprise for anyone.
Luckily for C9, Elise is a very sustainable jungler, so Kakao will probably not get high down in the first invade, because Elise just stays a lot higher HP in the jungle, and it's so risky to move into Elise's jungle without any vision. So Kakao probably looking for a first base, and then we see what his plan will be exactly in this game.
Well, we do take a look at the minimap, and you can see that Balls is actually pushing in towards Zetaya on the bottom lane, but the 2 other lanes for IG are pushing towards Cloud9. And for Balls, this is his 5th performance on Darius this tournament. Really showing that he prefers Darius over all others. And he's got himself an advantage already early on. So Zetaya, not having the greatest of days. As we said, he does have a big minion wave to farm out, but lost 1v1 earlier. And we'll see if Balls can get an advantage in that lane.
Elimination actually skilled pool. This is something we don't really see too often from Organis anymore after it got nerfed. almost into oblivion, does barely any damage, so it may be...
we still see 1 point for the gold income.
Yeah, to trade him, but he's using it on the waves even to prep for farm, so now he's actually trading with it for the gold income. I still prefer 2 points in bind, honestly, to go for the aggressive trade. Rookie here.
Nice.
Easy peasy escape.
We talked about how predictable Cloud9 is the team, but first of all, Hai gonna go in. Nice flash by Rookie to get away. But as we said, C9 picked the same champions every single game. Before the Veigar, actually it was after the Veigar show, I forget actually, but the Lissandra very good into that one. Hai getting jumped on by Kakao, has to flash over the wall. Kakao's still in range though, jumps in, gets first blood in Hai's jungle.
And that is exactly what Crippo was talking about, pushing lanes, and you can see the play evolve. Kakao inside Cloud9's jungle, he had the support of Rookie, and that allows him to secure first blood.
A really good move there, and also we can see why the Lissandra was picked early and then Flex, because they wanted to see the Veigar come out, and then they knew, because Lissandra E can actually still get you out of the Veigar cage. A lot of these conventional mid lane champions, as we see Kiddies take some poke here, they can't get out of the cage because they have to dash through it, and then obviously the new Veigar cage stops your movement. But Rookie can send his projectile over and he warps, he blinks outside, so that actually makes it really easy to play into Veigar. In addition that he can self-cast the ulti on himself, so a lot of counterplay.
Zetai's in trouble, gentlemen. He needs to crunch out. It's gone into non, flashes the point-blank cocoon. But summoner spell blown, so Hai has been able to get 2 summoners. However, he has given up first blood.
And Hai has been revealed, and look what Kakao is looking to do.
Well, he's going to look to hunt.
Now he's on the hunt as though he's playing Rengar, but he's a different feline this game. Hai forced run away after Chilling Smite to buy a bit of distance, and now the Spiderlings will just tank the Javelin. He'll be okay.
And yeah, if you look at the draft, like how and why did C9 get this exact composition? Well, because it's becoming relatively predictable, and IG is using that into their favor. Every time Hai reveals himself, Kakao is going for an aggressive move. All IG has to do is survive the ganks. 2 really solid flashes, one by Rookie and one by Zetai, have actually bought Kakao the time to really counter that play.
And look at the parts that everyone's playing in this matchup as well. Rookie, first item, gets a Negatron cloak, saying just make sure I don't get an Incarnation, I'm flashless, let's have no damage happen at all. Elise is a magic damage jungler too. Let's survive this lane because we know Zetai can win this matchup already at 5 CS. We know the bottom lane that we picked on our very first round here on Red side can win as well, and they're up 8.
And what I also like about Rookie, not only the itemization and the decision-making from the team comp, Lissandra is somewhat of a soft counter to Veigar. That Glacial Path allows you to get away from the Event Horizon. You can self-cast your ulti and survive. Kakao, once again, in the same area as Hai. Javelin Toss, if that connects. There's even a teleport from Zetai.
It's going to be 4v2. These guys need to leave, but Kakao's already here. The stun comes in. Balls is 6. Has to flash. Thankfully for him, no Meganar. Just transformed back to the small one, but another Javelin hits means the kill comes through. Time gets the credit. 2-0 IG.
I absolutely love this play. IG is slowly whittling away at C9, so C9's reaction is, well, we will switch the lanes up, just like we wanted to do earlier in the game. But at this point in the game, IG used that fact to their advantage. Instead of trying to match whatever C9 is doing, they just move their weak pieces away from the weak side and they move to the strong side. Teleport with Zetai to the top lane, gank and die from Kakao, and so they trade even towers, but they get a kill to boot.
Yeah, unfortunate for Balls to die. Sneaky Lemon kind of would have liked the whole, oh, great, we get a 2v0 a turret. We love destroying these things, but as you mentioned, a lot of damage to the top side of the map. It's going to be a very low turret, but into the mid lane.
Incarnation's dead. The Event Horizon comes up. Kakao gets one more to attack. Apprehend into the wall means he's stunned. Ball sidesteps and dunks to get one on the board for Cloud9.
And able to trade one back. C9 getting their gold okay. It's a 700 gold difference only because the top turret hasn't died yet. But with Balls leaving that lane, it's only a matter of time here for Zetai to knock it down.
Kiddy's moving in here. Balls is snared. Not quite level 6 yet, and obviously Sneaky's lurking around the corner. But keeping these trades 1-for-1, it keeps C9 in the game. At the same time, it prevents them from doing what they want to do, which is set up those pushes in the side lane and then allowing them to move into the mid lane. That's IG's loose condition right now. Getting 5 C9 members in the mid lane that could just push into the tower siege and throw binds and cocoons at you. You really want to keep the map open, and they're doing a great job so far.
Oh, we Sneaky rotated. Managed to help out in the middle lane, buy some time for Balls, and gonna start trying to knock down that top outer turret. Time has said snap, moved himself to the bottom half of the map, and I also just noticed IG have got that deep pink ward behind the red buff of Cloud9. Been alive for a little while. Let's keep a track on how much information that's going to give IG as this game progresses.
And look, Rookie is no longer AFK shoving into Incarnation because it feeds him too much AP right now. He's using the threat of Cacao ganks and just leaving the lane in front of his tower. Incarnation also has to pick up blue. Again, this reveals high. A mid laner doesn't just walk into the blue buff and magically gets it. You know the jungler is there. And then we now know that high will likely either path to the right or up. And let's see if IG can read that and really get a
already
counter
warded.
going.
They actually already know he's there. You can see Zatai is already walking backwards. He's a full screen away, and IG able to basically trade objectives again. Tristana, Morg want to push, they know that, but the bot lane turret is already being attacked. C9 can only do it first, but it's still going to go down 2 for 2.
Numbers advantage for IG on the bottom half of the map. Cacao is moving towards the Dragon Pit, but he's placing traps, placing wards.
Found a pink ward.
And Cloud9 is sieging the inner turret. So IG going to clear out a pink. Maybe a tower dive being set up. Look for the cocoon to connect. Teleport's being channeled from Zatai. No, that's Rookie instead. And he's not going to follow through on the glacial path.
And here comes the TP in from the rest of the team. Zatai getting pulled in. Not yet Megadar. They got to get him first. That will be the dunk before anything else can happen. Fears the minions away. Elimination survives, but of course High has still died. Rookie is alone, but bot lane's still getting pushed.
Yeah, look at the bot lane. The remaining members here from IG are pushing in Rookie. Fantastic E, but still gets clipped with a slow. He managed to survive.
Flash away. Tower is still standing. They should trade one tower for one and a kill for kill. Invictus Gaming hold themselves a 3,000 gold lead and can peel back for Dragon.
Exactly, because they sent their bottom lane down there the first time, and while Cena had all their antics up in the top jungle, Cacao went and warded before he made the exact same style of dive to knock that bottom turret down, so they've already got control. People are already there. It's going to be, yeah, 1 for 1, but a Dragon for free to IG.
IG actually have been playing pretty fantastically well when it comes to mechanical plays. That was a 2v5, I believe, in the top lane, and they went 1 for 1, getting Rookie out of there. Also, the confidence that he played with, he could have flashed out of that Veigar cage and then easily eat out, but he took the greedy approach. It's like, I'll see how far I get with my E. If I then fail, I have an emergency flash. And just seeing this IG play a lot more confident, a lot more proactive, and just smarter, countering their opponents, this is not something we've seen the last few games with them.
Certainly not. And for Cloud9, they're trying that tower dive up top, a little risky, a little scary. Just how much doubt is now being set into their minds. On the verge of going 0-3 on the day. Of course, not entirely out of quarterfinals, even if they lose here, but the possibilities significantly lower for Cacao. Gonna get caught out. There's an event horizon and a very early respectful flash from Cacao.
He has to, man. You got to respect the event horizon there. I don't know it in Portuguese, unfortunately, but Cacao's still having to run away. But now, of course, he's flashless, walks onto a pink ward. That's a risky one. He will explode, and Sneaky gets kill number 3 for the team. Cage not quite landing on anyone else, but C9 looking for that mid push.
Yeah, look where C9 is and how many members. This is something we've seen before. And Cacao, he respects the cage, he respects the dark. But then he steps into the pink ward and he doesn't realize there's another dark area right behind that. People are across that wall, so you really have to keep respecting it.
So this could be a little bit of a tempo swing in favor of Cloud9. They will have the final outer turret knocked down while still having their own mid to fall back on. Kitties gets caught and apprehended backwards. Fate's called back to time, but that's a double! Boom! Incarnation gets the kill. 5 on 4, and Cloud9, they may want to look for more. Instead, we'll back away. Big minion wave on the bottom half of the map, and wards to be placed.
And C9 can run their time. No summoners, no ult, but Rookie's going to be there first to wave for C9. Don't make the quick move to go down there. They're going to let that farm be taken. A couple of wards down, C9 going to retreat.
And now you can really see how frail a 1v1 composition is once it falls behind, in a sense. It is incredibly strong if you can lock the enemy down because there's almost no counterplay once it's in full motion.
Yep.
The problem is if you don't get into full motion, you make one mistake in the setup, then you get punished so hard. C9 with a fantastic group, couple nice cages, and kills to boot.
Well, Invictus had the Exodia comp, but when he walked for the pink ward, they activated C9's trap card, and suddenly all went poorly. It's still a 1,200 gold lead, though, even though turrets are the same and kills are the same. Look at the farm lead, top lane and jungle specifically. Actually, even the mid, there's a lot of members who are significantly out farming, so the laning prowess of ING and the farming speed of Cacao keeping them ahead.
Also, you have to factor in that a Veigar can be down slightly in gold and still have the raw amount of power in the game. Incarnation hasn't been doing the greatest. He's now sitting on 91 bonus ability power from that Baleful Strike, but he's playing forward with pressure, so he's not maximizing the perfect CS, but instead he's looking for these cage opportunities, and honestly, it is the right approach.
It's still roughly, what, 1,700 gold worth of AP for free? Ballpark?
Yeah.
Which is something you have to always factor in. And we just need to see whether or not Incarnation can find the targets. Because there are some ways to avoid it. The Fate's Call if he tries to hit Kitties by accident. The self-cast on that Frozen Tomb from Rookie as well. So there are some small windows to outplay.
It helps if Time walks into your cage and then flashes out when he's projectile.
So you mean like this?
Traveling.
Time, Eventerize it.
Oh, he can't move anywhere.
I think he's gonna go down.
Dodge
No.
the W, perfect.
Well, Incarnation decides not to throw the Primordial Boost.
Later in the game, it's enough to make that move and then just do QR. At this point in the game, Incarnation does need his full combo and maybe even another iteration of the Q, but you can already see the pressure he's putting out. He's no longer being pushed back in his lane, and Kakao can no longer find High because High is simply just grouping with his members, and the time it takes for Kakao to go anywhere, a potential siege could arise. So C9 with a lot more proactivity in this phase of the game.
So Dragon should be up in about 2.5 to 3 minutes time. Cloud9 with that earlier push, they got some vision in the top half of the jungle. This will allow them to secure a blue buff uncontested and hopefully leave vision. There you go, 2 minutes on the timer for a potential future Dragon challenge.
But the thing is, right now, C9 are slightly owning the map. There's wards kind of a mismatched side. There's a bunch of wards on the left side of the jungle that are IGs, which doesn't mean very much. There's no turrets to contest really up there. Baron's not up for 5 minutes, so C9 are actually the first team to get relevant wards on this side of the map. And as a quick tangent, you're noticing double Abyssal Scepter, Kakao and Rookie both realizing as kind of the primary targets for Incarnation in a lot of these fights, getting early MR, emphasizing not getting one shot.
Not finding finds Kakao, but nothing more than that.
Look at the vision though, playing in the darkness, hang on, Kitty's walking in.
Oh, Fate's Call, but that's an important cooldown ahead of the impending Dragon fight. It's a little under 2 minutes is the total cooldown for Time, so it will not be available for the fight.
IG had the right approach in the early game, so their 0 to 10 minutes were perfect. Right now though, they're falling into old habits, especially when you look at the LPL. They're trying to contest the Dragon when they shouldn't. They should switch their attention to the other side of the map, because in a perfectly warded deep jungle right there, it is so incredibly easy for Cocoons, Dark Bitings, or Veigar Cage to catch anybody and blow them up immediately. So face checking into the dark, you just gotta respect it and move to the other side of the map.
Cloud9 got a big chunk of that tower down. Still really committing a lot of time and resources to the top half of the map. Wave is pushing against them down bottom, and Balls with teleport available has been left alone in the top lane. He's currently a level behind Zitai.
Yeah, this is most Balls games really, is he gets behind in the lane matchup and the rest of C9 carries him the room to catch back up.
But look, C9 actually don't care about the Dragon. They only care about the illusion of the Dragon. And now they use that time where IG pick up the Dragon, the second Dragon, to buy Balls some more time to get even in that matchup. They don't really want it. They just want you to face check and come and fight you for it. So this is IG up playing into C9's hand. We do have to obviously be afraid of a potential 5 Dragon later on if there's some mistakes coming on, but we're looking at a very, very even mid-game.
Cloud9 decide, hey, not worth the risk. They've peeled out, committed too much time and resources, and even though they've got the crowd, they will have timing, so they know there's some freedom, and IG gonna get it.
I mean, the auto's recalled back here now. The Zitai can try to back up and try to get back up to the top turret, but Balls is getting enough time with this early Black Cleaver to get some pretty significant damage down on that top turret.
Say tower for Dragon, but what we saw was there a tower and 3 waves for the Dragon here, evening out that XP advantage, and everything happened in full vision. IG had 4 members on the Scuttle Crab. It doesn't get easier to shot call when you have complete information.
Well, mini-map, Sneaky's aware something's fishy.
Oh, he knows.
IG have got vision control of the river bush.
This is where you just throw the bait in front of them, dangle it, just to make them interested long enough to wait, but not...
They're still
scary
there.
enough to get
No,
caught.
Sneaky, don't. Sneaky, well, Sneaky's going to get dunked. And that was
only 2 of them. Didn't realize there was more against the wall. A huge misplay. Sneaky goes down by a well-executed trap of Invictus Gaming. And now they can go push mid.
Well, the numbers advantage. Zitai's Mega Null will be timing out. And the rest of IG gonna wait for another minion line to conga its way to the Christmas cage. Cloud9 gonna look to defend the best they can. They have
looking
pulled
for a cage fight here.
They pulled Balls down, still not level 11. But he doesn't use his teleport, and it looks like Cloud9 can hold for the time being.
IG just lost their primary engage though on that pick. Because if you look at what they're bringing to the table, Kitties is secondary engage. Zitai with Gnar is secondary engage. Kakao is just damaged. So all the really hard CC that is targetable is on Rookie. Without his ulti, he gets blown up immediately. More importantly so, there's no way to disable the Veigar. If you go in for any hard engage, Veigar Cage comes out and you get denied. Either you get stunned or the team that follows up on you gets stunned, so you really want to buy some time. And then you need the Zonias or the ultimate available for Rookie.
Unless they can stack the CC right away. A flash ult from Rookie, throwing in Kitties and somehow getting a knock up into the chain stun. These are possibilities, but of course, it will be hard. Flash down, ulti even still down from Rookie as well. Now, we mentioned the top lane turret getting chunked earlier. I just want to point out that it is still alive at about 300 health. The threat of the frozen mallet rush Gnar was too great, and Balls actually backed out quite early and finish it down.
And look at Cacal's build. Not only did he go second item Abyssal, a QSS picked up as well.
Wow.
Get himself out of those bindings or even Event Horizons. Like, it's more MR, but it's a defensive build. It's one of these suboptimal routes just to deal with some of the threats that C9 have.
It looks suboptimal, but when we saw Score face off against the Veigar, I think it was yesterday, he went in every time and he almost got blown up immediately as a tank of Rek'Sai.
Yeah.
So somebody has to take that cage. You can't wait for him to not cast it. That will come out at one point, and the most ideal player to do that is either your support or your jungler. So in that way, it does make sense for Cacao to take that approach.
Right. He can stay alive as best he can. Of course, you mentioned the support tanking it. Kitties can always get ulted out, so you hope for C9's sake you never see Incarnation's ulti come out for that Kennen. We'll see. Lots of Magicers being stacked on the team means it is an easier playground for Darius and Tristana, who are not being itemized against in any meaningful way right now.
You can feel the slowdown now, as the inner turrets are so much more difficult to siege. Cloud9 had a good ring of vision, but they may be falling prey to some shenanigans as Invictus have moved their way into this bottom quadrant of the map. Balls smell something fishy and will back away in time. There's no real vision for Cloud9 in their own jungle, and they are losing some control.
They're moving to the Baron area already, though, faking a potential bait here. Teams don't really have too much vision in the Baron pit or in the Baron area at 20 minutes into the game, especially if your jungler is not running Sightstone. Remember, this IG is playing a very spread out style with very limited amount of wards. Trinket upgrades will be fundamental for this to work.
Kitties is going in, slicing Maelstrom. Incarnation's in trouble, but look at that Event Horizon. Fate's Call will get him out alive. They've got the teleport from Balls, and IG tried to set it up.
And now the teleport's on cooldown, so Balls can't show up, and Sneaky was spotted on the top side of the map. IG had a small power play. Not going to get much for it, but you saw how close it was to killing Incarnation.
Yeah, the CPM here for Incarnation is around 6. 1 cage every 10 seconds here, cage per minute. That's what we can expect here. So every 10 seconds the cage can come out, so that is actually brutal in fights.
Zatai taking a bit of damage. C9 on the hunt, trying to knock these guys back. Of course, mid-tier 2 is available, and the waves coming with them. C9 have zoned out Invictus for a precious few seconds, but not enough minions there to actually push the turret down. The Spiderlings chase through, but here comes the engage. Here comes Zatai. No Mega Gnar just yet. Rookie ults in.
High's in trouble. Frozen Tomb's down. He gets gnawed against the wall, and it's Time that picks up the kill credit. Incarnation and Sneaky trying to deal damage from the backline, and Sneaky's forced to rocket jump and then flash away. It's a 2-for-1, as I think Rookie was unable to follow through on that glacial path. Cloud9 managed to survive, but they lose 1 extra member.
And that's with them stopping the immediate Mega Gnar. It only gets better from there. Cloud9 now losing a lot of their flashes.
They just didn't have the tools to deal with the engage. Cage was down, they were out of position, they were too clumped up, and obviously they were focusing the primary tank there in the Mega Gnar form from Zitar. So that was a really poor fight. So C9 in a sense got lucky that they got out of there alive 2-for-1. They did have to burn a lot of flashes though.
You can see the Cocoon comes out, tries to stop the one. Now Hy's just an easy target though, he's not very tanky at all. Runeglaive and Abyssal, one of the squishiest builds you could go for. They're just thankful that Zatai actually does die. It gives Sneaky that rocket jump reset and the flash over the wall.
Yeah, if Time actually moved backwards to heal his top laner, or if they worked together, healed each other, that could have actually been another dead Sneaky right there.
Unfortunately, Time only goes forwards, and that means finding kills onto Balls, as he's got that Hurricane completed, Blade of the Ruined King, a CS advantage. So substitution at 20 minutes, I think it's fair to say working out thus far. Different itemization, different build, and Time showing up.
Also, he's maxing E, which is necessary.
Yep, the attack speed, Emax build, Hurricane's in there as well. Now, during that replay, the top lane tier 2 did die, so if you look at the gold, it's very close. That's C9 finally getting their 4th turret kill of the game. But Dragon number 3 is already here, and with a player like that, of course, IG are there on time. It's going to be an easy rend, an easy pickup. Dragon number 3 for IG. C9's going to start sweating.
C9 is still grouped. We can imagine that their plan is to just go for a Baron play around the timing of Dragon number 4 and then hope to close out the game, or convincing map control fashion to deny that 5th Dragon. But it is a risky game they're playing.
And it is a very close game so far. Despite Cloud9 giving away advantages to IG throughout the entirety of this match so far, they are staying relevant in gold. They have been down in CS, but Incarnation has farmed up a sizable lead over Rookie. And it's on a champion that scales so exceptionally well.
IG seems to be chronically underwarding though. 3 sweepers for vision denial. Kitties obviously gets Fate's Call out of this cage right here, but look at the vision that C9 has on the map and how much vision denial they have in their kit, especially because even if he doesn't run the side stone, he does have a couple of nice wards that he's placing, and Kakao invested a lot in this defensive build, and I feel like IG are running out of vision.
Well, we can look and see that they're mostly only having wards on their side of the map, though it's where C9 likes to play. The tie walking forward, close to Mega Nart, down a bit low. Cage comes through. Oh! Holy crap!
You don't face check those brushes now against the Vega. He doesn't care if you're a tank. He just blows you up. Easy bind into CC, chain,
But
and then
the only MR in Tai's kit is in his shoes.
And the thing is, he wasn't Mega Nart, so no bonus stats, but quick pro tip for the Veigar players out there. Second item, Void Staff, always. It is the better damage item in pretty much all circumstances, so the early Void Staff definitely being a big deal for that. Mathematically, it's true.
Is there a counterpoint if you get an insane amount of AP off your Q when Rabadon spikes it up?
Basically, no. Because your damage is so high, like it requires like really extreme situations, and in almost all basically cases, Void Staff just is better.
Incarnation has farmed 3 needlessly large rods worth of free AP on that Baleful strike.
Let's watch that again here. You just see
slow motion.
Goku goes wide, but bind hits, and then it's not hard to land that cage. Also, the cage keeps Incarnation and Sneaky protect. Look at the placement. He could have placed that cage to the top right too, but he just makes sure that if people really want to go in a straight line towards the carries, that they actually get clipped by that cage too. And it's the little things right there, and then you blow up one target. And the difference between the IG lineup is if they hardcore engage and they lose their primary engage, then they can't really take fights after that. C9 can take repetitive fights. Bindings come up again, Cocoons come up again, bigger cages come up every 10 or 9 seconds by this point, so comfortable position.
There is the possibility, the only problem we've seen from both teams, when they find those individual picks, there's very often not an optimal objective to go for. You know, they have been getting some damage in towers.
Out of are dead, Dragon's dead on respawn.
So Cloud9, they've regained some tempo back, regained some control, but look, there's not a lot of deep vision inside of IG, so C9 have to look again for more face checks, look again for more picks to maintain control.
That all depends on your definition of an objective, because people can rate vision control around that.
Oh! Flash engage. Goodbye. Good Zonia's there, and here comes Kitties as well to lock up the team for a little bit more. There's plenty of time here, and they've got to run and run away. Invictus looking pretty good, but you're still seeing balls to rejoin this fight. 2 kills already for Invictus. Another lockdown of this Darius. Not long for this world. A double kill for time. 5 and 1 on Kalista. 3 for 0.
It's not over yet. IG have got a minion wave pushing forward. 5v2. All of the wave clear is going to be reliant on Incarnation, and instead, IG look towards the Baron. 5 seconds before Sneaky's up, 20 before Balls and higher up, and there's no TP for Balls.
And will they start it? Yes, they will. As a tie up in the front, Kakao putting the damage in here. Elimination and Incarnation kind of by themselves, holding their hopes for an auto berth into the quarterfinals if they can win this game, but it's slipping away now.
Incarnation is going to try and time a WQ combo. Can he steal it?
A perfect! Ooh. Not going to work this time. Invictus get the Baron after the team fights.
That was actually a really smart approach from Invictus Gaming. Even caught me completely off guard as I was going to go into a rant about objectives and vision control. IG, they played on their strong side where they had vision denial. Rookie snuck in and he just went in with the E from Lozano. Something we very often see mid laners do, but they just did it from the right side. Left side was completely in control from C9, and it gave them a false sense of security. He just comes behind Sneaky here, instant flash R, denies the jump, cage is not enough, and then follows up here on Incarnation. So has the zone, has to deny ulti, that Kitty zones, he gets pulled back. So this is a beautiful engage sequence here from IG overall.
Even High trying to go back in, just gets knocked up by the second part of the Kalista ultimate there. Then Balls just kited too much because there's no CC left for him. Incarnation zoned out to the wrong side. High is already dead, nothing he can do.
5 and 1 on Kalista for IG. Thanks to the fight in the Baron, they now built themselves a sizable lead. 4,000, the largest of the game so far. Got themselves some key item breakpoints, and they're slowly creeping that vision into C9's territory.
The story of the 0 to 15 minutes game plan for IG repeats itself here though with the Baron. They really want to split push, keep C9 spread, because even with Baron buff, moving in here is incredibly hard for IG because they'll have to go for a really, really big dive unless they can flank. C9 will have to yield some towers, but when it comes to defending the base, it's incredibly hard to flank there. So likely we're going to see some split pushing after these initial towers drop down.
That's what IG wanted to do a long time ago, and that's what their team composition can do very well in. Another Dragon is up. This will be Dragon number 4. Cloud9 are relatively close by if they wanted to contest. It's 20-odd seconds, and they need to do a lot of work because it's very dark.
But it's still 1 minute of Baron buff, and even though a lot of that power is buffing up minions, it's still up to 40. At this point, probably 25 attack damage and ability power per member there. So the bonus stats, plus the fact that C9 has no dragons themselves, means they're down actually more like 6,000 gold worth of stats, even though the gold lead itself is only 4K. It's, you know, add 3,000 to that.
And this is something we see very often, especially in Europe. One team will get up to 4 dragons, and it's the 5th one where teams will decide to contest. Cloud9 not going to run the risk. They don't have the ability to clear the vision. They don't have the ability to push deep enough to that dragon pit. And the 4th one has been secured by Invictus. IG might be trying to play Heartbreak here to Cloud9.
C9, they have 6 minutes right now. That's all the time that's left on the clock for them to really find an opening here and get the game even again. See split push here from Zitai. He's getting caught by Sneaky though. You can see an R flash.
Yep, rapid fire means a lot. There's the rocket jump forward. Hex Drinker popped, and this could be enough. Yes, Sneaky with a red buff creates an opening. Now Rookie getting stunned, but High is going to take a lot of damage. His Vitalings are dead. Here comes Kitties. He's ferocious, and down goes the kill.
But this completely shuts down IG's push. We talked about it earlier. If you get shut down that 1-3-1 split push in the earlier stages, you have room to punish. Right now, that punishment is them losing the entirety remainder part of that Baron buff, any potential setup, and C9 relatively even here. 4,000 gold behind it means a lot, but it doesn't mean anything if you can get the jump on the enemy team.
So Cloud9 still yet to take down or move into IG's territory, so they're going to need to look for more of those picks. They've got that banner of command for elimination, so that could start opening up some side lane pressure and allow them a little bit of wiggle room as we get closer to more objectives like the Dragon, like the Baron.
Honestly, I feel like this build as well is curious for High. He's going for a really high ability power, low tank build with the fact that there's so many good hard dive champions. You've got a Callista ulted Kennen, you've got a Mega Gnar, a Lissandra. It's so easy to pick someone up, and High has been getting basically one shot in every team fight. Okay, the early jungling didn't go well, he was behind already, but the fact that High is now 0-5 is pretty troubling.
Same time, he's 0-5, but he can still play a large damage role in the team fight. So they're just operating under the approach that they're going from 4 carry composition with a defensive Morgana. Speaking of elimination, he can split push. So we see High path by here.
Rookie and Cacao not going to find the opportunity. They've got that pink ward and the red buff, so they know they're safe. But again, playing aggressive inside Cloud9's jungle.
Surprise elimination didn't go for the Zeeks here to buff up that Tristana even more, especially since his build is a little weaker, since he had to opt into the Hex Drinker.
Yeah.
Split push, it can help you a little bit, but it's rough into, especially just these melee split pushers, or these 80 damage split pushers that will just tear apart that tank in like 2 hits, so. It does help them with the siege if they ever get Baron. Then it's incredibly, really good for C9.
Yeah, Sneaky itemizing a lot of magic resist with the Hex Drinker and QSS means he's not... It's just weird, they're splitting their roles so oddly. I guess Sneaky's trying not to get one shot and the QSS helping that, but they're kind of over-prioritizing defense in the wrong roles and then over-prioritizing offense on the wrong roles. That's what it feels like to me.
Well, we'll find out if it affects the next big team fights. 2 minutes to Baron, about 3 till Dragon. Balls has got teleport available. He went down to meet Rookie, who also has his TP up, as does Zitai. So more map play options available for Invictus.
Double Zonius, double QSS picked up, but a bit of a lacking of Mercury threads. Mercury threads are incredibly good against compositions that C9 likes to run like they do right here. I think TSM actually ran a similar composition and the enemy team just continuously kept picking up those Mercury threads. So IG looking to just get out of those cages with the QSS and then hopefully to deny some damage with the Zonius.
Well, 1 minute on Baron Nashor. Already a 4,000 gold lead, and this pink ward allows Rookie to sneak in. No one knows he's here.
Well, Balls may find out very soon.
Or Lemon. Not going to run the risk. Every single time we see Rookie or Cacao inside Cloud9's jungle, there's not a whole lot of support around them. It's a 1- or 2-man invasion squad, and they're getting away with it thus far. Cloud9 is sticking primarily to their lanes, sticking primarily to the CS that is moving towards them.
But they're closing their eyes to the real problem that's about to emerge. 30 seconds from now, Baron will spawn, and there's no vision setup whatsoever for C9. A minute and 50 seconds from now, Dragon will spawn, and there's no vision whatsoever too. So C9, they have to group and push out at one point, but they're delaying the inevitable. They just want to find an opening, but IG is playing patient enough to not allow that.
Oh, well, C9 finding a bit of an opening. Cacao at half health already. There's the virtue of the damage build, but Kitty's just barely stopped by the cage, down to half health, but you wouldn't dare ult because of Fade's call.
So much damage onto IG with 5 seconds to Baron. This might be the grouping and the pressure that Cloud9 could be looking for. Balls did channel that teleport. He's with the group, but look at the minion waves pushing against them. Cloud9, they need to deal with that as well as trying to get vision. So much to juggle.
Well, we'll see if C9 can juggle this turret down first. IG looking around the side. They got the hunt on the balls. He's okay, though. Top lane, as you mentioned, is pushing down, and Zetai can run over and use teleport if he needs to. Rookie's TP is down as well, so at least Incarnation is a teleporter for C9.
Keep your eyes on Rookie every time that cage goes down. For the remaining 6 seconds, he's going to be so incredibly aggressively positioned in these fights.
Incarnation thankfully has a QSS. That could have been a flash hold in the making in a game-winning team fight. Cage won't land.
A good QSS could also be game-changing for Cloud9. The Event Horizon will impact so much flow during the course of a team fight. Cloud9 signaling 30 seconds to go until Dragon is up. They are now in the Baron area, threatening a rush, threatening a start. But for IG, they don't want to go uncontested.
Close.
And there are wards behind Cloud9 if Zetai wanted to try come in with a flank.
Trinkets on cooldown and Kiddies is out of wards. This is rough. If that ward gets cleared in the back of the pit and we don't get an immediate mid-push reaction from IG, we could actually see a successful Baron bait from C9 here, or a forced fight.
Meganar just got triggered. C9 should not be looking to do battle. Just waiting out the Meganar. IG, of course, running towards Dragon. They do take it slower. They've already gotten 4 of them.
C9 could have traded this for Baron, but right now they're moving. They're playing into IG's hands. Scuttlecraft for the accelerated engage too. So now C9 is stuck.
C9 seem to be pushing IG away just a little. The Event Horizon is down. It's a 10-second cooldown. It has been pulled.
Can burn this.
Dragon is out of the pit, but now it's C9 backing away. Look at the minimap. Minions pushing towards Cloud9's base. Invictus are in control. They've got the Scuttle Crab for engage power as well.
And Nar is no longer tired. He can build up this bar and get himself back in on this one. Kakao and Co are starting though. C9 walking in. Zetai on the wrong side as mini Nar.
This is full aspect of the Dragon. It has reset. The Dragon is regenerating minions again, pushing towards that inhibitor turret. The Event Horizon's down. Dragon's been rushed. Cloud9 secure it. The zoning Event Horizon, and they're trying to get away.
And this is exactly what Kakao talked about in his opening interview. Levitation has to run though.
They're going in. Kiddies is gonna pop the ulti. Event Horizon buys some time, but here comes Rookie. Incarnation gets out, but Zetai is Meganar. He finds the stun. 2 kills already, and they're not done yet. A quick kill back comes in, but it's a slaughter right now.
Invictus are looking to clean up. Sneaky, along with High, the last 2 standing. 3 for 2. Baron is alive as well, and Invictus are peeling back.
But if we go back to right before this game, Kakao talked about why High is such a successful jungler, because there is 0 hesitation whatsoever on his objective calls. That was an incredibly bold move here, and Sneaky with some bravado too in that fight, because he actually jumped on his target to kill it, to get the reset, to then jump out. So C9 getting away there 3 for 2 is actually impressive.
You can see the level of damage output here. Incarnation, I think, making a strange choice to go for a zone. I think he needs a pistol as well. There's so much front-loaded magic damage. Rookie and Kakao have the right idea of just itemizing defensively enough to not get one shot, but still do their job. Incarnation could do basically nothing, even though he had a perfect QSS. You can see this fight come in here, and IG just want to jump in. They've got the engage items already. Kiddies doesn't care if he gets stunned. Incarnation chunked to 1/4 health before anything even happens. Zetai has the easiest of push-ins.
Keep your eyes on Sneaky though. He finishes off 1 guy, goes on Rookie, uses the jump on Rookie, kills him, and then gets a jump out. Many players would have just instantly jumped out there, but good, just spatial awareness there. And that was a fight 2 for 3 with Incarnation doing nothing in a position that C9 was forced to overplay their hand and just go for a 50-50 on Dragon. Imagine if C9 could repeat what they did earlier, which is get vision control around these areas like they did on Dragon area before or Baron. Then this composition can still blow up IG.
While they've got time, QSS does come out instantly. High was able to just repel for that one. So here's some of that vision you're looking for, Crepo. Tension is real high. The crab belongs to IG. Baron has actually been started. Zetai,
they know.
He started to channel the teleport. Kakao isn't going to find a javelin toss, but that looks like a mega gnaw. And Kiddies just got in.
It's going to be the smite. Kakao gets it. And here's the ensuing battle. 1 kill already. Balls can't get away. Kakao is just cleaning this battle up. One kill back for Incarnation, but the stun is one spell away from landing. This Veigar refuses to be stopped. Can he get away with this? Baron still to IG, and it's still a 4-2, but Incarnation made it look closer.
Oh, if that bind from Lamination actually connected on Kitties, then Sneaky wouldn't have been forced to use his Buster Shot defensively, so one spell can really turn the tides in this fight. Really good steal though from IG, but again, these plays, you have to be confident to make these calls. On the world stage, when you're playing for this much, when this much is on the line, Hai says, well, we're Scuttle Cloud, they have teleport, we're just gonna finish off this Baron. And look, Kennen comes in here, bind misses.
Good flash.
Kitty splashes over it, and then Buster Shot reactively from Sneaky, which is good, but at that point, position is compromised for C9, and they can't afford to play when they're behind on the positioning.
No flash from Sneaky either. He actually could have flashed away from Kakao and gotten a bit more space. You can see the burst available here. Actually eats right through Zatai's Hex Drinker. And that's the thing is, I just feel like C9 needs two threats that can stay alive. Sneaky can do plenty of damage. You saw that in 2 fights ago. Incarnation can do a lot. You saw it in this one. It's just a matter of them living.
Yeah, but C9 have only lost fights where they kind of like panic.
Oh, gosh.
I won't call that a fight.
No, not really.
But they've only played fights where they allowed IG to aggress upon them when they're actually trying to secure an objective. In open space, when they can kite, I just want to see how it plays out.
Well, for Cloud9, they may not get that opportunity. And 40 minutes in, Incarnation is over 1,000 AP, but the problem is his team is 10,000 gold down and against Baron empowered minions. IG are sieging up the mid lane inhibitor turret, and with just 1.5 waves of minions, 2 waves call it the siege as they've chunked down that inhib turrets.
Just look for Rookie whenever they siege. He has to position in Fog of War on either the left or the right side. Hopefully get that with a pink ward and then threaten at least some zone in that area so that people have to be afraid from Rookie diving, because 4v5, C9 is still holding on to this tower.
And you know, every time I look at the items, I see Lemonation's Banner of Command is available. It has not been used. I have to know how many times he's actually put that down. Eventurizing catches Zatai. Wow, Rookie went down somehow on the back line.
Hai assassinated him.
How on earth did he do that? Now
KP Elise is how. That's...
is looking to retreat. All of a sudden, Cloud9, they've said, we don't care about your Baron.
Whoa.
We'll just turn this around.
C9 was just all about the X factor here. Hai gets the one shot. Rookie doesn't have QSS. I forget if he sold it for a new item or if he never even had it, but either way, the stun lock just kills him.
The level of confusion and question marks around Hai's build may now be justified. They have 30 seconds until Rookie is respawned. Cloud9 have got Tristana and the explosive charge and the tower. They're now knocking on the inhibitor as well. Kakao's on the sideline, but it's inhibitor to Cloud9.
15 seconds remain for Rookie to spawn. He could change his boots upgrade for a TP home guards engage somewhere, but C9, they disengage, they get out of there. Their top lane turret did fall, but they can pick up these waves, and
C9 have about 5 seconds left to control the map as best they can, because the Dragon's coming up in 20 seconds. C9 does have every ultimate and every summoner spell. Same situation, though, for Invictus Gaming, except for Kakao's flash.
the difference right now is that C9 is in control of the Baron area, and they can punish IG for pathing through choke points. That's what they want to look for. Don't let them get in, and just try and put that cage down.
Could this be a comeback for Cloud9? Dragon is live. Aspect is being threatened by IG, and Balls would need to teleport in. He's actually channeling it already, so the dance has begun.
And Mega Nardo is almost here. It's a threat for Cloud9. Aspect of the Dragon could win the fight. IG getting pushed a bit backwards. Hai's posturing forward. 3,000 health. Kakao goes in. Here comes the battle. Aspect of the Dragon in for Invictus. Incarnation over the wall. Kitty's safe as well. First kill comes through. Rookie's dead. But Time and Co. are crushing faces. Incarnation, the only one alive. Kitty's here to say hello. Not dying just yet. Gets a stun. Here's the ignite. There's the triple kill. Kitty's on support. Kennen gets 3.
And this is where it all comes down to questioning the C9 tunnel vision on the Dragon, and should they have opted in for the fight, played a little better. But yeah, if Hai gets that smite, suddenly he's the king, and maybe C9 can win that fight. But IG, it just cost C9 too much in that fight to go for the Dragon, because they just lost the ensuing fight regardless of who smote that Dragon.
And IG, even though they cannot get themselves out of 4th place in this group stage, they might be able to win their last game at Worlds here. Time in the roster, 9, 1, and 8 on the Callista. And Kitties with some great engages as well.
There is nobody to tank the Nexus turrets for IG, so they will settle for 2 inhibitors. They did lose a Nexus turret of their own thanks to supers, but this is that fight once more.
Yeah, Balls is positioning offensively here to... Actually, no, he didn't even do that. Balls went in for the Dragon. There was just too much tunnel vision because Darius' role in these fights is to move in and prevent people from coming in and doing exactly what Zidai did there. 3-man Meganar. Look at where Incarnation ended up in that fight. That means something went wrong at one point and people were zoning and peeling enough and they were tunnel visioning on that Dragon. You can still win a fight where people get aspect halfway through. But it's incredibly hard because it's so easy, hindsight. You know, we get a replay, get prepared, nice. You're like, yeah, hi.
We're not playing for a quarterfinal position and to go 0-3 on the day, which is what Cloud9 is facing. But for Invictus, they pull timeouts in the final hour, and he's 9-1-8. His Kalista performance is leaps and bounds better than what we saw from Kid, both last week and earlier today. Ooh. And IG are just, honestly, they're punishing C9 who are looking weaker. Let's also keep that in mind. C9 have not had a great day on the Rift and on the stage.
Don't forget though, at this point, one full combo from Incarnation deals over 3,000 damage. So he only needs like 2 parts to that. He can literally one-shot time. Once he gets his flash, he can flash in QR and time is gone.
Well, that would mean IG would be out of time and their base could die.
Incarnation.
Yes, it would.
Yes, it would.
We'll need to wait a little longer because his flash is not available for one of those combinations. Zetai is going to start charging up that Mega Narc after he gets caught by a Dark Binding. And it's currently Incarnation in the bottom lane dealing with the supers. He's pushed that wave out, bought a little bit of breathing room. Trying to look for superlatives, different words. Yeah. And Invictus going to back away.
But it's 2 dead inhibitors to 1, so someone has to respond to the bottom lane. Probably going to be Incarnation because he still has teleport. There are a few wards still here for C9. They see this coming. The team's coming across. Teleport coming just to walk a bit closer. C9 trying to stop the Baron attempt. Zetai stuck in the pit. Baron's at 5,000 health. They can't finish this off. Zetai forced out, but he's close to Meganar. He could try to come back in. And all the while, bot lane's still getting pushed in by supers.
Mercurial Scimitar was used by time. He can't run the risk of being caught by any of those skill shots. C9 do not try to finish the low health Baron, and the dance has begun once more.
IG finally playing with patience until Zetai flanks. Incarnation catches him in the cage.
He's stuck in the pit. No flash, but Sneaky still has the black shield. 1 Meganar in towards Balls. Elimination, the only man taking the Kitties ult. Time survives. Cacao kills off Incarnation. Rookie gets the second. Sneaky forced to flash, but Zonia's buys time. And Kitties again is the man engaging the fight. Sneaky, the last man alive. He's going to go down.
And that's going to be game. There's super minions pushing onto Cloud9's Nexus. And to play spoiler in the final hour, Invictus Gaming will be knocking down the Nexus.
It looks so good, the cage fight for John C9, but it wasn't enough. IG close out.
They are on to the Nexus turrets, and Invictus Gaming pick up a win against Cloud9.
Well, time to go down in history books, being undefeated at the World Championship this year. His first and only performance here at the World Championship. Had a great game for himself. This felt a bit like the IG I think we wanted to see, that many people had predicted as being at the top of their group, but instead they still finished 4th.
Yeah, IG, with that roster swap, really invigorated their play. And they added another dimension to their play here, really.
Yeah.
Came out.
So, what does this mean for the rest of the day? First of all, I love hearing the Parisian crowd yelling IG as well. Great support, regardless if they're home team or away. The next game is Fnatic AHQ. If Fnatic win, they will clinch first place and force a tiebreaker with Cloud9 and AHQ for second.
Right, whoever wins that game is the #1 team, whether that's Fnatic or whether that's AHQ. The winner of our next match is the #1 seed in the group. The loser of that match will be facing Cloud9 in a 1-game tiebreaker for that second quarterfinal spot. So both those teams that we'll see up in the future have 2 chances to win 1 game to get into the quarters. And C9, continuing that North American trend, 0-9 for NA teams in the last week of the group stage. This could be 0-10, or it could be 1-9, and they would secure that second spot in the quarters themselves.
What a story. How Cloud9, first of all, get to the World Championships. Then they come out the gate swinging 3-0 last week, only to truthfully be picked apart. It feels like their play style has been dissected, and even IG, who were weaker today, also took a win.
Well, back when Cloud9 was the North American team, back in Summer Split 2013, they just played the same champions and the same comps and the same strategies every single game and said, I dare you to figure us out. And no one ever did back then. As time wore on, it got harder and harder for C9. And now they're at the World Championship, one of probably their hardest moment ever yet, being such huge underdogs. And they still go back to that one strategy style. And I don't know if it's being daring or just being, we actually only ever knew one style. You know, each year we pick one and we lock that in for the rest of the World Championship here. And this is what it looks like here. C9 still playing the same champions over and over again. And, you know, this one, it didn't work out absolutely.
One style to rule them all, you know, one style to bind them.
Well, but unfortunately, you can flash over those and the Morgana doesn't hit them.
Sadly enough. But yeah, really, really big difference here, stylistically, coming out from this group composition versus the spread out early game. IG knew exactly what was coming even before Champion Select was done. So they played around it, and I like just the way Kakao played this early game. Really, really smart, used information, aggressive pounces. Remember when some point in the game, we saw Hai being spotted bottom. He pounced over the wall, the exact frame where Hai was really in front of him. And that knowledge really showed that IG could come back and actually finally play to the strengths of their composition, which was refreshing to see.
And you have to step back and then look at all of the Chinese teams. EDG go through as the only Chinese seed to qualify for London in the playoffs. Both LGD and IG are now dropped out for the first time in the World Championships, having not all of the Chinese squads through to the playoffs, and just disappointing performances.
Yeah.
When they're knocked out, all of a sudden LGD finds some life yesterday, and IG, similar story, finally against Cloud9. I mean, arguably Cloud9 underperforming as well, but just a disappointing group stage for three teams that were very, very highly rated coming into the tournament.
Yeah, and it's just, it kind of goes to show you've got to play the games. When it comes down to it, you can have favorites, you can have players that are supposed to be very good, players that dominated their region, but you come here to Paris, you play in the big stage, you play in front of this crowd, their baguettes are waving, they're yelling. Every time you click Pantheon and Champion Select, and I mean, all that, it's a different environment. You've got to get used to it. You've got to be able to show up when it comes to Worlds. Week 1 C9 did show up, and that was beautiful to watch, but here they are playing, honestly, sort of, I guess at the level players expected of them. They were probably supposed to be 4th place in this group.
I think that's fair.
They're at least guaranteed 3rd, so that's still better than most predictions, which ruins more people's pick 'em brackets.
Including mine.
Including mine as well. But the point is here, C9 still, of course, have that chance to play up. They still will wait the loser of Fnatic versus AHQ. That is, of course, a possibility for these guys, and maybe they will be the first and only North American team to make top 8.
Yeah, they could. Although I have to admit, there was a distinct lacking of baguettes being waved in the crowd.
Today, yeah.
Hopefully they can up their game. We'll speak to Chips and Noir and find out if they can get them to wave their baguettes. Guys, we're going to head to Shocks at the interview stage to talk to IG support.
Thank you very much, guys. Indeed joined by Kitties, who unfortunately your team is out, but you still got a really nice victory here. Can you talk me through what happened in this last game and how you found the strength to do this and play so phenomenally?
就是这次比赛虽然你们没有晋级，但是你们最后一场比赛打得非常精彩。然后想让你跟我们仔细介绍一下这场比赛的经过和发生。
最后一场是我们拿到卡尼斯塔跟凯兰嘛，然后最重要的体系是我们本来团战阵容需要就是靠我或者兵法去强开团，如果说能开起来团战的话，队友就会有很好的机会切入。那个时候也要看一个机会，就是纳尔的能量嘛，他能量太低，我们不能上。
Okay, so the Kalista and Cannon comp is really important. It basically gives us a tool of engagement. As well as we have Lissandra. Lissandra is really good in forcing a team fight. And the other thing we have to pay attention to is Maganar. Whether Zitai has enough fury to become Maganar. So combining those 4 things, we can make sure that we have a good chance at the team fight.
Yeah, and with all those 4 things, it's actually a very complicated thing to pull off. There's been a lot of criticism on both individual play and the team play for your team. What for you do you identify as the problem for IG throughout this tournament?
就是对于这次 IG 的失利，我们可以有很多人把针对了我们的队员，也有针对了战术。你觉得 IG 这次失利的原因大概是什么？
没有打出自己想要的东西吧，然后在赛场上、比赛上面判断上面有失误。
Alright, so they didn't find their rhythm to play what they normally play, and they have a lot of problem in decision makings, in the in-game decision makings. So that's basically how they lost the game.
Right, and that's the end of the story here for IG. Finally, that means that IG and LGD out of the Chinese LPL are out. EDG is still left standing. As knowing them very well, what are their chances here at Worlds?
就是这次 LPL 战队只有 EDG 晋级了，你觉得 EDG 在之后的比赛中能取得什么样的成绩？
他们能进决赛吧，感觉。
You think EDG can make to the finals?
All right, well, we'll see if that happens. Thank you so much for talking to us. Kitties, after closing out the tournament with a win, over to you guys.
Thank you, Shocks. Things are only getting more interesting here with that loss for Cloud9. I want to jump into picks and bans. Specifically, Tabe, you mentioned that Kakao might move towards something a little bit more aggressive. We saw the Nidalee come out, and it was very effective in the early game.
Yeah, as Yamato just said, the poking competition is really good. Although Rookie didn't pick a poking champion, but Lissandra is always very good because he can flash an R Veigar and force Veigar to buy the Quicksilver Slash. Because even if you have Sonya's, you will be stunned immediately because of the stunning. And we can see that Kakao's this game is performing magnificently because he's like punishing the other team's jungler a lot, and he also have a really good attention on all the dragons. He got nearly all the dragons.
I'm really happy they brought in the Lissandra. As we talked about yesterday, the kind of weakness of teleport is that you can't really take the cleanse. And with the combination of Kakao dominating the jungle, they are pressuring Incarnation, who is playing Veigar that is weaker in the early game. So I really, really like that approach.
Coming into the tournament, we knew that Cloud9 was really good at innovating. So for a long time, they always bring out new picks. But that also came with the fact that they always stick to the same picks that they brought out no matter what. In the Gauntlet, we saw the affinity for Karma, previously Ashe, Zyra, pretty much every single game. And then in this tournament, no exception. The same compositions every single game. And I don't think that's going to stop. It's a little distressing. Actually, it's very distressing to see it be dismantled that hard in pretty much the top lane, the mid lane, the jungle. People have figured out answers to every single part of it. They really need to try something new.
I was going to say, it's more concerning now that the comp that they had been winning with, essentially, for the first day, has been beaten and not just banned out and forced onto something else. You know, in this game, though, it was kind of interesting because Cloud9 was sticking in it for a period of time. They managed to get themselves into that turret siege situation where they could make picks and take a turret off of it and keep the gold even. However, they were almost too willing to hand over dragons to IG and put themselves into a hole and into a bad position when it came to the late game, having to fight for that fifth.
I feel like IG, like with the advantage they took early game, they had like a good role on the game. They had good control of the Drakes, good control of the Barons as well, besides from that steal that Kakao was forced to make. But I feel like IG, I had a good point. I lost it. It's like...
You were saying that IG played it well around holding control over the dragon.
Yes, yes.
Which my point was that Cloud9 had given up too much leeway to IG in the early game, saying you can have the first three dragons, you can have the first 3 or 4, put themselves in a hole and forcing themselves to come back for the 5th. Would have liked to have seen them make some movements earlier.
Okay, I got my point again. The point I got flashbacks from the previous Kalista games, where Kalista, like I remember when Kid was playing Kalista and he had to just E the Baron back in the day, and he had to like only like ult Kitties in, and he just failed to do these simple things. The addition of time, I felt he managed to do these simple things on Kalista. He was solid, and solid was something that IG needed in these previous games because Kid was doing a lot of these mistakes that cost him the game, and I felt that time was fundamental to securing these objectives with his Kalista play.
Now, unfortunately for IG, they will not be moving on in the tournament. And for Cloud9, they found themselves in a tiebreaker match to even get out of the group stage. We'll see if in the time that they have during this next game, they can come up with a new strategy that might be effective against either Fnatic or AHQ, who are playing both, and both are playing next. And both of those teams are eyeing a first seed quarterfinal berth. We'll be right back with a closer look at that clash, so stay with us.
Dude, we're about to get LGD'd, man. I'm scared.
What's that mean? They whipped in time.
They whip in a substitute when they're already done so. And then they just turn up.
Gets caught and apprehended backwards. Fate's called back to time. And
Boom!
Boom! Incarnation!
Incarnation gets up, but Zatia's Megador. He finds the stun. 2 kills already, and they're not done. done yet. Kitty's safe as well. First kill comes through. Rookie's dead, but Time and Co are crushing phases. But Zonia's buys time, and Kitty's again is the man engaging the fight. Sneaky, the last man alive. He's gonna go down.
Invictus Gaming pick up a win against Cloud9.